Hey everybody, this is the officially unofficial Geek channel. My name is Carrie Quinn and this is the Spoilertastic Weekly Comic Roundup. I got wow. So I got the comics to tell you about. I've got oh, I let's just roll the intro and I'll get into it. How about that, all right? So roll the intro and I'll tell you all my news. Hold on one moment. Guys, that's woo. All right. So this is, like I said, this is the officially unofficial Geek channel. My name is Carrie Quinn, and you probably know that unless you're coming here for the first time, which I would not be at all surprised if you're coming here the first time because hold that thought. This is the officially unofficial Geek channel, Spoilertastic Weekly Comic Review, where I talk about the comics and I let you know what I thought of them, and usually in perfect spoilertastic view. So if you have not read your comics, please pause this video, go back, read your comics, come back to me. Especially if you're dealing with some DC comics, because I'm pretty sure that's all that's here today, because Diamond messed up my LCS's order again. I swear to God, guys. I swear to God. Like, I did not get to read Big Game, which I actually started reading because of the conversation on the monthly comic book review on Pop Culture Philosophers. They convinced me to read it. I read it. I loved it. The second one came out this past week, in the week that I'm talking about today. And no, my shop did not have it because Diamond sucks yet again. I did not get Tenement. God, what else did I not get? There's some other stuff that I didn't get. I didn't get Tenement. That's the number one thing I think that I didn't get that I'm kind of a little bit salty about not having in my hands right now. I really love Tenement, and I keep on having to read it late because, Diamond sucks. Have some information that I got from my LCS. Hopefully, that whole situation is going to be improving very soon. But for now, we are going to have to just deal with it. Um, Anyways, that's the bad news. If you're coming to me for the first time, it might be because on Friday evening, while I was playing Starfinder, while I was gaming, while I was rolling D20s and trying to hit the CBC Awards nominations were announced. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the CBC is, it's the Comic Book Community Awards. It's this event put on by sponsors. The ringleader of this is a gentleman that has a channel here on YouTube, Brian LCS. I will try to remember to throw his channel link in the description so that you guys can check him out if you've never heard of him. Brian got the idea a few years back that he was going to do a comic book community awards because you have the steamies, right? The streamies, not the steamies. That sounds like something a little more NC-17, if you know what I'm saying. The streamy awards, which is for streaming on YouTube. The big players get to be involved in that. No, this is separate from that, in which the comic book community gets together and tries to get people involved, tries to get people to nominate different channels so that we can find out about different channels in the community, like kind of poke around, see what we like, you know? So Brian started putting this together and other people got on board, and it's really cool. And there's different categories. Some of them are kind of fun categories, like best hair, hands, facial hair, that kind of thing. Some of them are more like favorite channel on a certain tier, favorite channel, best spec channel, and different tiers. Well, one of the categories is best unknown channel. And your girl, the officially unofficial geek, is nominated for the best unknown channel of 2023 of the year. Thank you very much for all of those out there that voted to nominate me. Thank you so much. I have got some stiff competition, y'all. Gosh, friend of the channel, Sheena's channel, Sheena and Inja, Melanin and Manga is nominated alongside of me. Oh, head explosion moment. Sheila is absolutely fantastic. Inja is obviously just as fantastic because she's on the screen there doing her thing, and they are amazing. Both of them are wonderful. The other nominees I'm not as familiar with. I just wanted to shout out Sheena because Sheena definitely took, Sheena and Ninja took a moment to shout me out yesterday on Instagram to congratulate me. So thank you to both of you. But yes, I am nominated for Best Unknown Channel. Hopefully, unknown no more. If you're new here, we do pop culture stuff, very heavy on the comic books. I try to do a comic book review every week. I'm not necessarily the bestest at that sometimes if I'm sick or whatever, because it's just me doing that here on the channel. On Wednesdays, I do What's Happening Wednesday with my boyfriend, Bizarro Fett, Joe. If you've been in different chats in the community, you may have seen him in chat rooms talking it up with everybody. We do a show just kind of like a pop culture show where we talk about stuff. We have talked about comic book stuff before, but we've also talked about movies, that kind of thing. I also have a little series that I haven't done anything with recently that I just started. That doesn't bode well for it. I haven't done anything recently, but I just started it. Like, I haven't done anything recently, we just started it. But I've done a few videos under my belt for that, and that's Carrie Reed's editions, where Carrie reads Golden Age, Carrie reads Silver Age, Carrie reads whatever, and then I talk about something that is not necessarily the newest thing in the world, but I've gone back and I've read it. I've read the first appearance of the Justice League. I read the first appearance of Alan Grant, the first appearance of Starro, which is the first appearance of the Justice League. Same thing. I've read some classic 1970s Green Lantern and Green Arrow. I've done that. I've done some stuff, guys. I've read some stuff. I've done it. The one that's probably going to get posted next, I just recently finished reading Hoxpox. Now, yes, I have not read Hoxpox before this moment. I am primarily a DC girl lately in the last few years. So I'm going back, and I recently got a couple like Kindle type what's the word I'm looking for? Scholarships. Scholarships. Yes, I got the Kindle scholarship. No. Subscriptions to read some stuff in digital form, because obviously if I was going to try and do this just by buying a bunch of books, it would be very expensive. And one of the things that Comixology does have is it has different volumes of Dawn of X. So like you don't have to go, I'm going to get the X-Men volume 1, and I'm going to get Marauders volume 1. No, it's like, here's volume 1, you got X-Men 1, Marauders 1, so on and so forth. But I read Hoxpox separately, and so I'm going to talk about that first. Preview, I was very impressed. I'm very, very pleased with what I read. Just preview for you. I'm very pleased with what I read. this is why I'm now currently on the first issue of Marauders in my reading. So, anyways, guys, that's some stuff that's coming up. But please, I'm gonna also put the link to vote for the CBCA Awards so you can look at everything and maybe check out channels that you're not necessarily, you know, aware of or whatever. Quick shout out to friend of the channel, Pop Culture Philosophers, Robbie Bills, Rockin' Robbie, had a lot of nominations. TM Nerdy had some nominations, including the Blue Wrench, which I think that my personal opinion, TM Nerdy needs to win that one. But that's just me. That's just me. Everybody is deserving in that, but I'm cheering for TM. So, but the monthly comic review that I've been doing recently for Pop Culture Philosophers is up for awards. So, vote. Anyways, okay, so I jabbed my jaws long enough talking about that. Let's get on with the serious comic book information, the reviews. That's actually not so bad. This is, I picked this up. It's called Weller. It has 25 milligrams of CBD, black cherry. It's actually not bad. It's sparkling water. And yeah, not bad. It's not on the necessarily the most inexpensive side. Like this can was probably, oh god, guys, $3.50. So like I said to Joe, this is not something I'm going to drink every day, but it's something that I might drink like once a week and to help with some of my arthritis and that kind of crap. But anyways, excuse me, I am still dealing with long COVID symptoms. My long COVID symptom is the cough. So that's pretty much here probably until it just goes away. So sorry. But anyways, let's get into it. Again, this is Spoilertastic Weekly Comic Review, which means we are going to get Spoilertastic in this joint. If you, like I said before, if you have not read your comics, primarily DC, please take a moment and go read those and then come back. But the first comic we're going to talk about, generally what we do is we talk about all the comics, and then I let you know what my top 3 are for the week. That's how we do things around here. You know, no big whoop. Today we are going to talk about Dark Knights of Steel number 12. We finally got the last issue of the Dark Knights of Steel run by Taylor Putri and Peranto with that glorious, beautiful Dan Mora cover that he's been doing for each of these issues, and it's beautiful and I love it. Let's see here. Let's talk about Dark Knights of Steel. So this is the last issue of Dark Knights of Steel. One thing I am going to tell you is that it kind of leaves it open a little bit for another, possibly a sequel. However, when we got to the end of number 11 of this, I definitely was left in that situation where I was like, how are they going to tie this up and have it stick the landing on the 12th issue? And I can tell y'all that it's an ending. It's an ending. The thing that I worried about was that sometimes when you have the specific limit, you end up writing yourself into an area where you either have to just kind of tie the ends off, or you could try to do something too big, depending on how much room you have. Where the room you have isn't going to fit the story you're trying to tell. Or it's one of those situations where you're going along and you build up something, you do something epic right in the last issue, that's so epic and so big that you don't expand on it enough to stick the landing, or it's underwhelming. Um, and when it's underwhelming, it typically ends up being a little bit predictable. There are moments in this that I hate to say are a little bit predictable. The idea of, um, okay, this is spoilertastic. Alfred's character dying was a little bit predictable. Um, the mega happy ending, that's not really mega happy. It's not mega happy ending. The ending that they had there was pretty predictable. Um, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. On this cover, everyone on here, pretty much, I believe, is accounted for in the book, except one. This little guy right here, Beast Boy. I didn't see Beast Boy as a dragon again, and that is a travesty. Beast Boy as a dragon was pretty fucking cool, I gotta tell ya. Beast Boy turning into a dragon in the middle of a fantasy-driven DC Justice League type series was pretty freaking cool. It's completely believable and completely over the last couple issues predictable that Amanda Waller was going to do what she did in double crossing the kingdoms, double crossing her kingdom. It was completely predictable that Amanda Waller was going to let Deadshot take the heat and take the blame for Alfred's murder. All these things were completely predictable. You knew that the white aliens were going to lose, and it was probably going to be involving the power the most part with Supergirl being involved, but the power of the Trinity. This is all pretty like, here's the thing, they're tropes for a reason, and um, tropes are tropes for a reason. I don't know if I've actually said that on this channel before, but to me, tropes can be successful. Tropes aren't necessarily a bad thing. Here's the thing. Here's my viewpoint involving tropes. Tropes are not the enemy. The problem is when you have tropes, because tropes are the endless idea, okay? No matter what, tropes are tropes because they work, because people buy into them. People want those kind of stories because they're successful. They're successful because people want them. Okay? Now, the key to when it takes it from being a normal trope to being something that's extraordinary, that's something new, something different, something outside of the normal plan, is when you put a spin on it. And the spin then in turn has to be done to completion or done well or what have you. So you have the trope of the Justice League, the Trinity, saving the day. You have the spin that, oh, well, it's done during medieval type times and it's very medieval. Okay, that's your spin on it. Now, was it done to completion? The story ended. Sure. Was it done to satisfaction? I was really expecting a little bit. I was not expecting it to be that easy for them. It seemed like it was pretty easy for them. That ending battle with all the white Martians was pretty freaking easy for them. I don't know if anybody else noticed that or what have you, but let me know in the comments if you disagree with me, if you agree with me, what have you. Maybe you have, I'm sure you have your own thoughts involving that whole situation, but that's kind of how I felt about it. It left me wanting more and not in a good way. So the next book that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about The Unstoppable Doom Patrol, number 5 of 7. I've been really enjoying. It's been a solid book. Episodic in nature. So really, it's kind of like Star Trek in a way, where it's episodic in nature, but yet there is an over the whole story kind of, not that you're tying, on down the line of the rope. Um, but what makes it good is that somebody could have just been like in my LCS, where they're getting ready to move, and they've got this sale going on. Next week somebody could go in and be like, they could be like, "Oh, you can pick out so many books for buy one get one free." And somebody could walk up and be like, "You know what? I'll pick up Doom Patrol number 5 of 7, um by Culver, Burnham and Reber." And they could read it and kind of get what's going on. And each issue makes sense on its own, but is only accentuated by the adding of 1 through 4. Um, you can read 5 and then be like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read 1 through 4. It's kind of the point that I'm getting at. Um, each issue has a start, a beginning, all that. They have a middle, they have an end. Um, there isn't a lot of carrying over arc kind of issues um, that seem damning to anyone if they're not reading everything, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. Um, there's some build and improvement and work upon the characters that is really interesting. There's a lot of action for the most part in this issue, where basically the Doom Patrol has come to New Poplar, Illinois. I thought that was funny that it was Illinois because I'm from Illinois, and I actually lived before I moved to Indiana, where I am now. I lived near a town, because the town in the Unstoppable Doom Patrol is um, New Poplar, and there is a town nearby where I was living. I was living in Rockford, Illinois. I was not raised in Rockford. I was raised in Illinois, but I was raised more around the central part of Illinois rather than the northern part. Um, but there is a town nearby Rockford called Poplar Grove. Um, so when I read that, I thought that was kind of funny. Um, not necessarily hilarious or anything, just, oh, that's kind of cute. I know a town called Poplar Grove, like a big old dork. I got to be a dork by myself, and now I'm being a dork in front of y'all. So yeah, that's how that works. So the overarching story of the Doom Patrol at this point is that this is kind of the aftermath of the Lazarus Reign, Lazarus Planet type of story, where Lazarus Reign was falling all over the planet and introducing new metagenes to different people that did not have them before. So what Doom Patrol is doing is they're going around and they're collecting different people that have this, awakening in them, to kind of help them out and let them know that there is a place for them still. Um, Doom Patrol is basically the X-Men before there was an X-Men. So if you're interested, I say check it out. You can pick up number 5 if you haven't read the others. And if you like kind of what you see, go pick up the others. And then get yourself caught up, and then get yourself all ready for 6 and 7, which I'm sure will be a real treat, because this book has been solid the whole way through. Um, not really, you know, not really many complaints on my end about it. I've been very much liking this. So they go. I kind of started telling you about this plot and then I didn't. Yeah. Okay, so they go to Poplar Grove, and they are investigating the company that developed one of their new members, and they are kind of going in and being like, okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to figure this stuff out, and we're going to try to get them to stop operations and all that jazz. So that's kind of what they're doing there, but they end up getting attacked by a group of meta humans, and they have to fight them off and do all that jazz. So that's basically what it is. It's pretty, pretty simple. I'm gonna say it's been one of the better. It's one of the better, more action issues in a while. The last issue of this was very much kind of a psychological kind of like psychological story driven. Um, so this was like, okay, so you had that in the last issue, and now we're gonna have this with a little bit of action. So that was nice as well. Anyways, next book that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about we're going to do a Night Terrors one, and then we're gonna leave them for a bit, and then we're going back to them, okay? Because we're gonna talk about Night Terrors, Harley Quinn, written by Tini Howard, Williams, Sherman, Farrell, Holden, and Lothbridge. Lothbridge. First story in this, pretty solid. It kind of teases the next kind of venture for Harley Quinn when they come out of Night Terrors. Might have something to do with Warworld. Like Harley, we need you, Harley Quinn, to help with Warworld kind of thing. So it might involve Warworld. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on with this. This is where Harley gets to examine a world where she starts out as a hero, never has the time period where she's not. The one thing that's kind of been off-putting to me about the Tini Howard Harley Quinn run is that she seems to possibly be backsliding. And whenever you negate character growth and it doesn't make sense and there's no reason to, that upsets me. You can't take and negate character growth without having a good reason. If you have a good reason to negate some character growth, well then by all means do it. Throw it in the fire. But you need a good reason to negate a number of years of character growth in a character. Yeah, and she's fighting with the idea that she's not a hero, and it's like no, and it's like sitting there. She's like, and it doesn't make it seem like she's sitting there saying that she's not a hero, that she's something different, like maybe she's not a hero like they are, and she's kind of fighting it, which is kind of it's kind of it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Um, the whole idea of Harley getting to see what it looks like if she's a member of the Justice League is kind of cute because the only times that Harley has ever been involved in the Justice League is kind of like a one and done kind of situation. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see if, in fact, it is a situation where Harley does get involved in helping Warworld. That I would like to give a chance to. Like, let's see what happens here. So, guys, the next one we're going to talk about, I got to tell you, picking my top three, this is the last one before the top three. Picking my top three this week was, it took a little time. It's because technically this book came out last week, but I want to talk about it anyway. This is one of the ones I missed from last week, but I want to talk about it anyway. That's Batman Beyond Neo-Gothic number 2. It is the second issue in the return of the story of Terry McGinnis, the Batman after Bruce. So Batman Beyond Neo-Gothic, he is exploring the world of Gotham, because Gotham kept on just building on top of itself, like leveling stuff or putting a bunch of dirt and then building on top of itself. Well, sometimes, sometime along the line, people started uncovering the cities below the top city. So um, some kids have gone missing, and Terry is going to investigate that. And he gets the idea that he's going to go down in kind of like the catacombs, I guess, of the city where people are existing, beings are existing. He runs into a hugely grown Killer Croc. Killer Croc has gone a little bit more cuckoo, a little bit more um, unaware of reality. Cuckoo is a horrible word to use, though, by the way. He has become more unaware of reality than he ever was before. But Terry gets the idea that Killer Croc is there to guard something. And when he finally gets to what Killer Croc is supposedly hiding, it's a big old surprise. And it's the emblem of the Court of Owls. And he keeps on saying it must be, watched, it must be, kept down here, something along those lines. Did I mention the? No, I did not mention the creative team here. Batman Beyond Neo Gothic #2 by Kelly Lanzing, Dunbar, and Chen. Um, I'm really enjoying the storyline so far. Nothing really horribly spectacular until that last page. It's one of those situations where you like turn the page, is it over, and then there it is, the broken, cement and stuff kind of falling all over the emblem in the floor of the Court of Owls. Okay, just right there, guys. Just we made it. We made it. We got through. Let's just see who you really are. Anyways, we're on to the top 3, guys. We made it. Woo! We made it. Okay? Only 31 minutes so far, so if you're still with me, thank you. Next book we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about another Night Terrors book, and that's the Detective Comics Night Terrors #2. Creators on this: Waters, Frederici, and Anderson. Dan Waters is totally becoming one of my favorite writers right now. Probably going to end up with one of my favorite titles of the year with Seasons Have Teeth. And then he has been taking this book, Detective Comics, off of the plate of Rom V, writing these 2 Night Terrors issues. Rom V will be back next month with Detective Comics, but this is continuing last month, where last month we had the issue where you had the 3 good men of Gotham, and James Gordon, okay? And James Gordon's nightmare is basically he wishes he could fall apart, and then the parapriests, that the 3 good people of Gotham plus Jim Gordon end up entertaining. I use the term entertaining loosely. Jim Gordon makes this, he's in his head, he wishes he could just fall apart, but he can't. He has to be strong for everyone. So the parapriests start granting everyone wishes, their ultimate wish. One woman wants enough wealth to fix Gotham, and she starts just spewing diamonds. And eventually she asphyxiates, and all of her body is like damaged so much she's bleeding and throwing up blood, and she dies. One of them decides that they want to be like the mechanized Batman, so that they can, finally clean up Gotham in that way. And they get that, and it's not good. It's very bad. Um, they take advantage of that power, and they're very, they're very murderous and everything. And then you have one of them that wants knowledge. And then you have, they're like, oh, Jim Gordon, we're going to give you something too. Jim Gordon starts falling apart like fragile glass. And so he has to deal with that. And one of the things that happens is he has to go and he's trying to stop each of the members of these people that prayed to these priests. And the thing is it's like the woman, she kind of, that just kind of took care of itself because she just died asphyxiation and because of the blood and all the damage done to her by spewing diamonds. But I gotta tell you something. I'm not much of a diamond fan, but I would have been like, pick those up. I don't care if they came out of her fucking stomach. Go to the pawn shop with those. Get plenty of comics with that kind of dough. I'm telling you. You know that this was not the real world because nobody was like, shit, look at all those diamonds. Let me pick those fuckers up. You know that this was not the real world because you went told me nobody. Because there were diamonds in the art, there were diamonds everywhere. Okay? Diamonds freaking everywhere. So in this issue, Jim is still falling apart, but he goes after the dude that wanted to be like a Batman, but he's like savage and like monster like, and he's taken out by Jim. Basically, they have a fight, and Jim tricks him and then kind of blows him up. Then Jim figures out who the person was that wanted knowledge, and he finds out that that was Barbara. Because the parapriests were like, we gave her because you're like her, and he figures out that it's Barbara, and they gave her the knowledge, and then she also, knew what it was like to fall apart, and when Jim finds her, she's literally kind of like cut in half, and he's like, because she fell, and Jim is talking to her because she can still talk and everything, and she figures everything out, and then she makes a move to destroy the clock that she is, dealing with, and it destroys her completely. And Jim sits there and he's arguing with the parapriest about how is this knowledge? This is just wrong, blah blah blah. And eventually they're like, okay, well, you've been in a nightmare. Congratulations, you're waking up now. Congratulations. Here you go, Jim. You are not actually falling apart like glass. And yeah, so everything else is, you're awake now. But they say something pretty ominous that just because we're part of your imagination doesn't, just because they kind of pull the whole like just because you're paranoid doesn't mean we're not after you. Just because we're part of your imagination doesn't mean that we're not at least a little bit real. And yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say that the Detective Comics um, versions of the Detective Comics tie-ins, I would want to say, not versions, tie-ins to this whole event have been some of the better ones. Other ones that I've enjoyed, I very much enjoyed the Joker tie-ins. I very much enjoyed the Robin tie-ins. Um, yeah, so there you go. Um, but we got one more issue of Night Terrors to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about something I was not expecting to enjoy because I don't really have that much of an affection for this character, for this villain. But I read the Penguin one by Tom King, De La Torre, and Malalo. Okay. This is really freaking good. Okay. Um, very verbose, very in the head of everyone. You have a lot of different breaks between different narrators. However, um, this is typical of Tom King. Okay, you have different breaks between different narrators. One of the things that I've always thought about Tom King is that he will often write and show. Because here's the thing. Obviously, we know comic books are a visual and art and words platform. Okay, it's an art and words medium where you're not only telling people, but you also get to show people. And when I say when you're writing, you can also tell people, but the problem is, and you can also show people. The problem is that if you have an ability to show other than the writing, you don't necessarily need to do very much overlap, okay, of those two concepts in either way. So if you have the drawing and the art to say, this is what's happening, you don't necessarily have to say it in the writing. This is something that happens from time to time with Tom King's writing. And I swear to God, the man could write probably the great American novel if he sat down and tried. I don't know if he ever has. I think he has written a novel, but the dude, he writes beautifully with words. It's just for the platform he's working with, he doesn't necessarily need to do everything he's doing. So if you can show what's happening, you don't have to say it. Okay? So, is there, with the narration from different points of view, is there some unnecessary words? Yes, there are. However, in comparison to other times that Tom King has done this, where he's gotten very happy with the narration, um, this is better. There's less that I can that um, we have two levels of thinking here. There's one, less that I can pick out, less that I can pick on, and two, I want to pick on it less because what is here with that and everything else is something really kind of interesting. Um, who would the penguin have just, if the penguin had been left alone, would Oswald just have lived his life and been a well-mannered, well-rounded man in society? So let's talk about this here. Oswald in the first miniseries of Chip Zdarsky's run um, with Failsafe. At the beginning of it, he faked his own death using a scenario involving Batman, where Batman um, it, he made it look like Batman killed him. Okay, so this activated failsafe, and then everything happened in relation to that with that. So when failsafe happened and all that, and Penguin used all that to get away. Penguin Oswald, let's say Oswald because he's Oswald right now. Okay, he's Oswald until the end of this book. Okay, because it's two different men. You have Oswald and you have the Penguin. It's two different men. Okay, and if you've read this book, you kind of probably understand what I mean here. Um, but Oswald makes a break. He goes to Metropolis and he starts kind of like he has a flower shop. He meets a woman. He's in a relationship. He's really in love. Like, she's a veterinarian that treats birds. It's so cute. Okay? It's it's cute on one end because he's like there's this guy and he's just like well mannered, walking around well mannered, and people are trying to egg him on because they know who he is. Okay? And then you have people that aren't trying to egg him on, they're just trying to exist. And see, the only person in this world that knows, besides the cops that are trying to get him, that knows that Oswald Cobblepot was the penguin is his tailor, which goes to show you find out in the book that Oswald has been going out of his way to go to this tailor for the last 20 years. So this tailor knew him when he was the penguin. And the tailor is still like sitting there in his own thoughts thinking like he's the penguin. And he accidentally says something and he kind of puts his foot in his mouth in the beginning of the book and he starts stammering all over himself like, "Oh my god, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill my family." Ah, and Oswald is like, "Hey, you know what? Mistakes happen, man. It's okay." You know? He's all like, but it just goes to show a nice suit is a nice suit. Because he changed everything about his life, moved to Metropolis, but kept the same tailor. Good. A good suit says a lot. And the feeling you get from a good suit, apparently, you're willing to make some sacrifices for it. Um, so Oswald's built this life. He's a kind, good-natured guy. He's got a girlfriend that's like an aviary um, veterinarian, and she's saving birdies' lives and that kind of thing. And he's doing pretty good for himself. You know, people aren't getting to him or anything like that. He's just like they try really hard to get his goat too. Like they have some guy like get really aggressive with him in the park and he just takes it and moves on. And then eventually he gets brought in by they have some history involving Tom King's Killing Time book, which I did not read. Um, but it's a member of Waller's team. Amanda Waller, of course, is involved in this, of course, guys. If you're not familiar, Amanda Waller, they've been sprinkling Amanda Waller throughout all of DC, throughout all of the dawn of DC. She has a little plan where she wants to get all of the superheroes. She wants to get rid of all the superheroes. And she's been doing what she can to get that done by any means necessary. Um, so this person works for Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller has brought him in. Amanda Waller has told him, Amanda Waller's person that working for has told him that they have his girl. Like, they have his girlfriend. They're threatening his girlfriend. But he's got to go and he's got to go back to Gotham, get back his criminal empire, and wait for their instructions to take down Batman, basically. You get little snippets of the future in this book where Oswald is sitting next to Batman in the Batmobile, and the Batmobile is in the Gotham River, and it's like going down. Um, and they're stuck. And like all Oswald does when they tell him that they've got his girl is he sits there and like, okay, gets up, gotta go pick up a suit. So he goes, he picks up his suit, kills the tailor that insulted him the other day, and then apologizes for it, gets the suit, and he's no longer just Oswald, he's the Penguin again. So we have to wait and see what happens with that. And now I'm in. I'm gonna read it. And I wasn't going to, but now I have. I have now. I had to pause recording for a second to go do something. Anyways, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that if it looks choppy. But we're about ready to talk about the last book of the week. We're going to talk about Donna DC Night Terrors #4. Williamson, Kamikoli, Winogard, Nessie, and Martin with this beautiful Ivan Reis, Danny, Mickey, and Brad Anderson cover. I like the light coming from the hands, and everyone's like, "Oh, go, don't do it." Um, Honestly, guys, this is one of those situations. I don't know how they're gonna work this out in the last issue. We have one more issue with Night Terrors after this. All the different tie-ins have finished. We have one more Night Terrors book coming next week. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I'm hoping in Josh Williams' style, it is an epic ending. In here, we find out the backstory, the tragic backstory of Insomnia. Insomnia, his family, his whole family. Oh my God, I've been doing this without my earbuds in, and I don't even know if you've been hearing me. Oh, damn. Oh my goodness. This is gonna have to be some fancy footwork. Hold on. Okay, so it turns out you guys were hearing me the whole time. So we're just gonna pick up where we left off. And I'm not even gonna edit that out. I'm gonna keep that in because I am human. I'm only human. A flesh and blood I'm made. Okay, anyways. I hope that didn't sound like crap on the recording. Oh my God, that might have sounded like crap. Okay, anyways. So we get the backstory of um let me get myself together here. uh, I'm award nominated. Okay, oh golly. Okay. Okay, so we get Insomnia's backstory. And it's very tragic. He is the lone survivor of his family involving an attack. They allude to the idea that it was involving all the different evil Batmen. So they're alluding to the fact that it kind of went down around like um, Dark Knights or death metal. So that could be a possibility. Um, or the Batman Who Laughs book, like from that area, because they say that I don't know particularly. He specifically says the Justice League will save us, but then the Justice League did not save them, and then he can't sleep because every time he sleeps, he dreams. He has a nightmare involving what happened to his family. Um, so Dead Man Boston has a idea that he's going to use the Nightmare Stone, of which they found in the last issue, to fix insomnia, and um, that doesn't go as planned. That doesn't go as planned. Basically, by inserting the Nightmare Stone into insomnia's actual human body, Dead Man thinks that he can bring him out of his sleep state and stop what's happening, wake everyone up, and everything will be peachy keen jelly bean. Unfortunately, he is incorrect. I mean, like, good answer. Like, if I were, standing on the stage, um, at the Family Feud, I'd be like, good answer, good answer. Um, except a big old X would come on the screen, um, because apparently nobody in the 100 people they surveyed answered that way. Um, However, now Insomnia is awake. Now Insomnia is, doing all the nightmare stuff. in actual world, people are all waking up and the nightmare is still there. So that's the gist of the issue, is that now everyone's awake, but the nightmare is real. Um, so, and there's, it's bad stuff everywhere. Batman is now awake. He's in his own body. Damien lets him know what happened, and the Nightmare Trinity is there to mess some shit up. Okay, so that's basically the end, and we've got one more issue to get this all squared away. Good luck, guys. Um, but I really enjoyed it for what it is, giving us that extra information about insomnia, making him seem um, more human, was interesting, and it was good. It was a great issue. Again, that art is absolutely fantastic. Somebody read the assignment, involving horrific looking nightmare type art. Like, somebody read the assignment, these guys did. It's been working in some fashion across DC. Any of the issues that have had tie-ins have had some kind of level of horrificness in the art. So bravo. Um, and yeah, so that's it. Guys, I want to take a moment and I want to talk about something very close to my heart. This is, if you recall, another one of the books that I was missing last week, but I got it this week and I read it. And um, the reason why I'm showing it right now is because of this lady right here, Harley Quinn. Um, Harley originated in the Batman the Animated Series, created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini. Paul Dini developed the character of Harley Quinn that we all know, that we first were exposed to um, in Joker's favor, like based off of like from the first moment he developed Harley Quinn based off um, the voice and mannerisms of a friend of his. Um, he went to school with a woman named Arlene Sorkin. Arlene Sorkin um, is also known for being a long-term character, Calliope, on Days of Our Lives. A long time ago, they did a fantasy segment on Days of Our Lives that involved Calliope, Arlene Sorkin's character, dressing up in a flashy jester outfit, um, and going and saving, claiming she could save a princess, and going off and trying to save a princess that was kidnapped. The whole thing gave, when she came out and she's like trying to do jokes, and she has that Brooklyn dialect, that voice. Um, that is what inspired the look, the voice, the mannerisms, inspired Paul Dini to create Harley Quinn, a character that was supposed to be a one and done, was supposed to be on Joker's favor, um, and then never heard from again. But people responded so well. Studios, executives, everyone responded so well to Harley Quinn that she became a regular fixture on Batman the Animated Series, and in turn, eventually ended up in the comics. Her first appearance in print was Batman Adventures number 12. If you know anything about Harley Quinn and I say Batman Adventures number 12, you If you're a heavy collector, you know Batman Adventures number 12. Um, that was her first appearance in print, but outside of continuity. Her first appearance in continuity came during the Gotham event No Man's Land, um, in Batman Harley Quinn 1. Um, and now, years later, she's that was in 1999, and years later, she is now the powerhouse character that she is, quite often um, referred to as the fourth pillar of DC Comics due to her popularity. And if you want to know anything about her popularity, please um, become a person that loves Harley Quinn so much that you decide that you want every comic of Harley Quinn and you want full run in any comic Harley Quinn is in. And that's your main. When Harley Quinn is a major character, that is your main goal as a collector. They say collect what you love. Well, I decided I was going to collect Harley Quinn um, because I was watching that day. I was a little girl watching that day. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't understand. I thought, oh my God, she has the same last name as me. Oh, and I had to have it explained to me that it was a joke because of the Harlequin. I had an older sister. She explained it to me. My sister Kelly, I remember, explained it to me that it was because of the Harlequin character archetype. Um, and it was a play off of that, but I was watching that day. I heard the voice of Mark Hamill, of Kevin Conroy, and the voice of Arlene Sorkin. And recently we just found out yesterday, it gotten out that Arlene Sorkin had succumbed to a long-term illness at the age of, I believe she was 67. So I want to take a moment to get completely weird and emotional in front of you all to say thank you to Arlene Sorkin and my condolences to anyone that loved her. Thank you. Because we have Harley. And we would have never had Harley if it wasn't for you. Oh, okay. I reached that point in my life where, my heroes start dying, and this one definitely, like, I had anticipated getting emotional. Like, when people buy me gifts, there's a few things that they think of. I love cats. I love the color black. I love skulls, and I love Harley Quinn. Okay, I have all these Funko Pops of Harley, and some of them were gifted to me. I have all this Harley Quinn paraphernalia. Some of it gifted to me. Some of it bought by myself. Yes, but like there's one truth universal that if you want a surefire way to get Carrie a gift that hits it out of the park is get her something that's black, has skulls, has a cat on it, or has Harley Quinn. Um, so I'm definitely hit a little bit by the news that we lost Arlene Sorkin, but I had to do something here to talk about it a little bit, and I'm thankful that you guys are all here to hear me talk about it and to celebrate her life with me. So thank you very much. So this review is dedicated in her honor. May a flight of angels sing you to your rest, Arlene Sorkin, and thank you for everything. Um, Again, check out down below in the description, stuff that I talked about earlier today. Thank you so much for being with me here today. And check out, all of our stuff. I have a video a couple years back where I talk about I'm not monetized, so you're not giving me any money by going and checking out this video or anything like that. Um, but I talk about it was a live video, obviously, and I talk about the origins of Harley Quinn, and I talk about that first appearance in print of Harley Quinn, um, and yeah, so go check that out, guys. This until next time. This has been the officially unofficial Geek channel. My name is Carrie Quinn. This is the Spoilertastic Weekly Comic Review. Until next time, please keep your eyes and ears open. If you see something, say something, and remember, the complacent never make a difference. I'll be seeing ya. Bye.